Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today.
Welcome to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Joe. Hello. I am back with more feel-good, positive, uplifting stories to share with you today. As you know, I love sharing these stories so much, especially with all the chaos going on in our world. It is so nice just to have some time dedicated to positivity. So I love sharing these positive stories with you. So I thought I would just jump right into it. There is a new COVID-19 citizen science project. And this particular project is allowing any adult with a smartphone to help fight coronavirus and everything that's going on right now. As we know, it's kind of taking over our lives, but there's a new initiative by the UC San Francisco physician scientist. They dubbed COVID-19 Citizen Science, CCS, and it's going to be allowing anyone over the age of 18, to become a citizen scientist, advancing understanding of the disease. So you can help out yourself. It's spreading really, really quickly. Everything, things are getting shut down. There's just lots of information going on. But with CCS, you can upload information through an app. This was just launched a few days ago, and this could really help some data crunching researchers gain some insight into how the virus is spreading and identify ways to predict and reduce the number of new infections as well. So this could do a lot. So it is a smartphone app. It was all kind of introduced via the Eureka sign-up website. You can go there, or you can enter the study key COVID by texting COVID to 41411. And basically the researchers are just really hoping that this is kind of like a new study to go viral in a good way, just with the goal ultimately to, get more information, try to stop this as quickly as they can. But they have a goal to at least enroll more than 1 million individuals around the world on this app to try to get as much data as possible. They say we are asking each participant to share the link to recruit at least 5 others. It says we want to demonstrate that the number of people signing up for the scientific study and contributing their data can increase exponentially faster than the disease itself. It's true. We have social media. We have things that can help everything go viral. So sign up for this. You can go to the website via Eureka sign up website. You can text COVID to 41411 and you can become a part of this. With, social distancing in place and all the quarantine and isolation, public health studies can be really challenging. So with what they've created here with CCS, anyone with the iPhone can have it, or sorry, not even just an iPhone, anyone with a smartphone can get it. Once you're enrolled, then you'll be asked to complete an initial 10 to 15 minute survey about your health and daily habits. There will be some follow-up questions delivered, of course, by some notifications or a text message, kind of consistently. And you get to have this throughout the week, and you're basically just there to help. You go on this app and you can give your information. You're basically just helping the researchers come up with data. You can also be given the opportunity to provide like your location where you are. You can add data from your Fitbit, from a Bluetooth enabled device. You can add your blood pressure, weight, blood oxygen levels, body temperature, exercise, sleep, all of that. And you can put all this into this app, and you can help these researchers figure out more. Say in the long term, they really want people to identify, they want to identify behaviors, influences, factors, that increase and decrease the risk of infection, or that affect, the likelihood of getting it, or, so they're kind of trying basically just to gather data. So CCS, kind of branched off from a project called the Health eHeart Study. This was launched back in 2013, and it was, kind of to harness online and mobile advances in order to collect and analyze cardiovascular information from study participants, using not only surveys but also smartphone apps, just like with portable blood pressure, all those different things, collecting data on this app. So since that did have some success for quite a while, they thought they would use a similar idea to try to get some information for COVID-19. But this app is all research focused on COVID-19. So if you do want to help, you do want to give your information, definitely go check that out. They had lots of success with it before with the Health eHeart Study. They're expecting over 1 million people to kind of participate in this. So here you go. I'm telling you about it. Go grab the app. Go put your information in. The more that we can do as a whole, the quicker that we can come together, even though we're supposed to be distant. We got to come together in a certain way and bring as much data and information as we can to all the researchers, so this can end quicker. Because we all, want to get back to normal lives. Most of us are stuck at home right now, so if you do have your smartphone or your laptop or anything like that, go on, find the CCS, put all your information in, and help the researchers really figure this one out as quickly as possible. I know there's lots of people kind of trying different things to help out, doing lots of kindness deeds, which I have so many stories about, people just doing kind things right now for others. But if you really want to help the research, I think, becoming part of the citizen science project can do wonders. They're really hoping that this is going to make a difference. So there you go. Go check that out. Go put your information in, and let's get this thing done. All right, now my next story is about just a kindness act that people are doing during this time. There is a mother from Maryland. She wants to remain anonymous. She is anonymous. No one knows who this is, but she's been leaving out free bagged lunches for anyone who needs them during all this chaos. She's kind of been leaving healthy meals on a tent. A tent sheltered table. It's at a busy intersection in Severna Park. There's signs on the table, it says, for anyone who needs it, I will be leaving some healthy sack lunches on this table for you if you're hungry and need to eat. And it says, made with love by a neighborhood mom in a clean and sanitized kitchen. So it's pretty cool. I posted up a picture to our social media showing her little, kind of what she did, her little setup. She has a little white tent set up with a table, the signs, and all these bagged lunches just waiting there for somebody to come over and grab the food that they need. So I guess this table gets kind of stocked with free lunches between 11 and 1:30 p.m. every day. This has been going on for at least 2 weeks now. Kimberly Gasso is a mother of 2. She's kind of been trying to make ends meet, working from home. And these lunches, she says, have been a huge, appreciation gesture, just kindness for her kids during this time. She says, this makes me embrace my community even more. I'm proud to live here. It's great to show our kids that there is good in our world. It's not just about ourselves. It needs to be about others too. Like I said, we all got to come together in this, even though we're all supposed to be distant. Doing things like this, if you can, I think that's amazing. The table that she had set up, there's so many big lunches. She has the perfect setup, big signs, and not all kind acts during this time have to be huge like that. There's so many little things that people can do. but it's pretty cool. The table also caught the eye of the state delegate Nick Kipke. He praised the labor of love on a Facebook page, saying, "Things like this really lifts my spirits. It's great to see so many people in our community doing so much to care for others during this stressful time." So there you have it, and there's no judgment, there's no nothing, there's just bagged lunches made with love from an anonymous mother who just wants to help out wherever she can. Pretty cool. So there you have it. That's the stories I have for right now, but I have lots more to share with you, so don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick little break. When we get back, though, I do have a story about some NBA players who have recovered from COVID-19, and now just kind of the things that they are doing just to contribute to everything going on. It's pretty cool. So stay tuned for that.
In 2008, the U.S. national debt was $10 trillion. Today, it's over $23 trillion, and it's rising like a hockey stick. If you don't think that we're sitting on a house of cards, you're living with your head in the sand. But since you're listening to my podcast, you're clearly smarter than the average American. So, what's your plan? Can you afford another hit to your retirement, like the last downturn when the S&P dropped 50%? Look back historically. When the bottom falls out of everything else, gold tends to safeguard savings. And right now, thanks to a little-known IRS tax law, you can even move your IRA or eligible 401k to an IRA backed by physical gold and silver. It's perfect for those who want to protect their hard-earned retirement savings from any future geopolitical uncertainty. Birch Gold Group has thousands of satisfied customers, countless 5-star reviews, and an A+ rating with BBB. Contact Birch Gold to request free info kits on physical precious metals. See if diversifying into gold and silver makes sense for you.
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast. We're back, and I promised a story about some NBA players who are recovering or recovered now from COVID-19, and I'm just talking about the things that they're doing now to contribute to everything going on. So there's been a number of NBA players who have recovered now, and they're becoming role models just for a new national healthcare initiative to treat patients who are still sick with experimental therapy. So just days after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, approved testing of some plasma treatment, physicians at a hospital in Houston, Texas, became the first in the nation to test the therapy on a small group of COVID-19 patients just this past week. So this treatment involves drawing blood plasma out of an individual who has built up an immunity to the virus as a result of their recovery. The plasma, which is chocked full of healthy antibodies that have grown to fight the virus, is then injected into a sick patient so the antibodies can theoretically attack the virus for its new host. Since hospitals across the country, are kind of now searching for recovered COVID-19 patients to donate blood plasma, several NBA players are now contributing to the national COVID-19 Plasma Project, CCPP-19. They're volunteering as donors. Pretty cool to see. Dr. Michael Joyner, who is a member of the project's leadership team, said that 4 basketball players are participating in the program. 3 of the players have not yet been identified. Boston Celtics guard Marcus Smart confirmed to the news outlet through his agent that he is donating blood plasma after he was declared coronavirus-free by the Massachusetts Department of Health just this past week. So that's pretty cool. There's more that have not come forward. There's not a lot of names yet for these NBA players that are coming and donating, but there is more athletes who are donating blood plasma because they're kind of ideal candidates for this experimental treatment as well. So they are doing what they can to help out. Says these are big men with blood volumes, and as a result, they have a lot of plasma volume. So frequently people who are physically trained also have an increase in their plasma volume for what you would expect from them just being regular sized guys. So we believe the treatment can be disease modifying and reduce duration and severity in some patients. Pretty cool. The NBA has also donated $100,000 to the CCPP-19 project. There is lots more information if you want to go check out the CCPP-19 website. There's a bunch of information. You can also donate blood plasma to participating hospitals near you. So one neighborhood has come up with a pretty unique and creative way to stay a community through all this chaos right now, and just to fight the loneliness and the isolation and the quarantine, all the social distancing. This neighborhood came up with a pretty creative and uplifting way just to interact and kind of get everyone together, I guess, without getting everyone together like we're all trying to do these days. And they came up with an interactive game of I Spy. All people any age are participating in it. So Emily Nelson is a resident at the Sunnymead neighborhood in South Bend, Indiana, and she decided to create this game using kind of the Neighborhoods Association Facebook group and put this all together. So this was for St. Patrick's Day at first. She asked residents to tape paper shamrocks to their front window or draw them in chalk on their driveways. Basically anything that would be visible for kids to see that are walking by on the sidewalk, kind of like a shamrock scavenger hunt. So the neighborhood kids could tally up how many they spied, and then they posted it to the Facebook group. So the response to this game on St. Patrick's Day was just amazing. So she decided to do up a calendar, basically all the way through mid-April, with themed days. So there's different ones for like Disney characters, Mario, hearts for health workers, dinosaurs, there's a bunny hunt, and it's basically just kind of making your outings more fun as a family in this neighborhood. She's just kind of encouraging people to embrace all the themes, even like with costumes if they want, go outside and you spot these different things, or get to do like kind of like this different I Spy game, different game each day or for each theme. So for any neighbors who don't have any themed objects, there's like decorations or anything, so they can use chalk to draw on. I guess one resident was putting together like coloring sheets and that she was dropping off into people's mail slots so people could draw for the themes. Participation has just been really, really good in this neighborhood. They've really gotten everyone together to kind of play this I Spy game. So it's cool that she's kind of took it into her initiative and posted on the group. Now the whole neighborhood is coming together to do that. Even the mailman, I guess, according to one of the residents, took notice and asked about the sudden appearance of Disney items in all the windows. So it's not just the kids that have been excited. There's lots of people that are super excited from all ages. There's one girl in the neighborhood, her name is Carolyn Evans, and she wrote on the Facebook page saying, "We had a blast looking for characters today. What a fun thing for all of us to do. Thank you for putting this into motion, and thank you to all of our neighbors who are participating." So before all of this craziness and that is going on, this neighborhood always, played football games, they chatted on the sidewalks, they hung out on each other's porches. But now, with her new game of I Spy, the community kind of can all stay together and play a game, but safely with social distancing and keeping all of those guidelines in check. So my next story is about those essential workers that we're, trying to show as much appreciation for as we can. And one of the largest grocery store chains in America is offering a hero bonus to all of their hourly workers. So Kroger, which is United States' largest supermarket by revenue and the second largest general retailer, just announced that they will be giving hourly frontline grocery supply chain, manufacturing, pharmacy, and call center associates a temporary raise of $2 premium above their standard base rate of pay. So the bonus will be applied to hours that are worked from March 29th all the way to April 18th. The premium will also be dispersed weekly to ensure associates have access to additional cash. So not only are they giving them more cash, they are doing it weekly, so they have it right there for them. They say our associates have displayed the true actions of a hero, working tirelessly on the front lines to ensure everyone has access to affordable, fresh food and essentials during this national emergency. That was Rodney McCullen, Kroger's chairman and CEO. He says the hero bonus is just one more way we continue to convey our thanks and gratitude not only to our existing associates, but also to the more than 30,000 new hires we have joined in the past 2 weeks, and those who will soon join the Kroger family of companies. So, including the $2 raise that these employees are getting, they're also getting a one-time appreciation bonus. So that bonus is $300 to every full-time associate and $150 to every part-time associate. Pretty cool. This company's doing lots for their employees. Says, recently we announced an appreciation bonus for our hourly frontline associates. This gesture was to thank our associates for everything they have done during the past few weeks. However, we recognize that this crisis is far from over, and after reflecting on associate feedback and working together with our union partners, we want to further acknowledge our terrific team for their hard work to date, as well as the work yet to come. And so that was Tim Massa, Kroger's Senior Vice President and Chief People Officer. I just love hearing the feel-good stories about the frontline workers that are working so hard right now to keep everybody else safe and sane as much as possible. Okay, it is time for a little bit of a break, but don't go anywhere. I have some more pretty cool stories to share with you today, including some, positive comfort from a 102-year-old woman who has lived through a flu pandemic already, the Depression, and World War II. So she kind of has a comforting way of saying things, and I think it's just nice to hear some words from somebody that's lived through this kind of chaos that we're all experiencing right now. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming up soon.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Hello, we are back. Let's jump right back into some more feel-good stories for you. My next story is about a teacher, a pretty special teacher who's kind of going above and beyond during this pandemic. As as we all know, schools are closed. Students are not able to, see their teachers, get help. A lot of classes are just canceled completely. So this elementary school first grade teacher, her name is Deborah Cowley. She is really giving a whole new meaning to homeschooling. She's been doing some pretty cool things. She's a selfless teacher, I definitely have to say. So she's making surprise visits to her students' homes. She's driving by them for birthday parades. She's mailing personalized cards to them. She's sending text messages. So Lorraine Kane, who is the mother of Nick, Nick is 6 years old and is in Deborah's class, one of her students. So she says she sent us a text saying, "Look outside. My son was over the moon excited because his teacher was there. One day she dropped off bread in our mailbox. She is so much more than a teacher. She's basically their mom away from home." So during all the school closures, Deborah Cowley sent all 20 of her students a letter in that self-addressed stamped envelope so that they could all be pen pals during all of this. And she celebrated a virtual spirit week by dressing in sock monkey pajamas. Pretty cool. One of her students doesn't have access to the internet or a computer, so she actually drops off learning materials for this student. She's only been leaving her house once a week to shop for her elderly mother, but then she'll make a pit stop, a safe distance on the way home to one of her students. So there was another mother, Teresa Kutea. She says, "She showed up to our house holding a sign up to the window that said, 'I miss you and I love you.' The kids don't understand why they're not going back to school right now, and it was a sense of normalcy to see her teacher." So that's pretty cool. I think, especially at a young age, you don't get it. So seeing your teacher kind of brings a sense of comfort, I'm sure. So it's pretty cool. Deborah's going above and beyond to make sure those students have that comfort. So I guess Deborah faced quite a heartbreak in her career about more than a decade ago. She taught two students who, in separate incidents, were actually murdered by their fathers. Those tragedies just kind of molded her into part educator, part protector, and now she just says that she has these mother instincts. She just wants to protect and take care of her students and just be there for them. She says, "I kind of view students a little bit differently, so I always let my students know how much they are cared for. I always have their back. I try to make sure they know they are safe and they are loved." All right, so my next story is about some social centers that have opened up in NYC for the kids of healthcare and other essential workers on the front lines during COVID-19. So there's 1.1 million public school students in New York City, and with all these closures, a lot of these students, parents are still working. A lot of students don't have anywhere to go during the day at a young age. But now, the children with parents that are in the medical field have got a place to go during the day while their parents go to work on the front lines, whether it's in the medical field, which is any kind of essential worker. They've come up with this project for that these kids have somewhere to go. So the largest school state system in the United States set up regional enrichment centers. So this is where 8,000 public school kids can do their schoolwork at spaced apart desks. They eat 3 hot meals a day, and they learn how to protect themselves from COVID-19. Pretty cool. So the centers are not only taking the kids of hospital workers. The enrichment centers are helping children whose parents work in any essential services, like I said, utility departments, postal services, grocery stores, any essential or medical people, basically. Says, "We've done something like this before, but we've made these centers available to thousands of families who need them." So that was Miranda Barba, a spokeswoman for the New York City Department of Education. So the Department of Education is working with Apple to actually gather up 300,000 iPads to lend out to students who don't have access to an internet-enabled device when they're doing their online schooling during this time. So that's going to be happening between March 23rd all the way to April 20th. Parents who want to take advantage of the iPad borrowing service just need to fill out a remote learning device application form on the NYC DOE website, and you can sign up for that, and your kid can get sent an iPad so they can do remote schooling. All right, so the New England Patriots sent their team jet to deliver 1.2 million N95 masks from China to Boston and NYC hospitals. So the NFL New England Patriots team owner, Robert Kraft, said that they are going to be using, or they have been using, the Super Bowl team's Boeing 757 to fetch more than 1,995 masks from China, and a second shipment of 500,000 more will be arriving just next week. In addition to all of this, they will also be sending 300,000 masks were picked up, and they're going to be delivered in New York to help some New York hospitals as well. All right, and for my last story of the day, it is about some wise, comforting words from a 102-year-old woman named Lucille Elson. She has lived through a flu pandemic, the Depression, and World War II. So she's 102 years old. She was born on December 30th, 1917, right before the Spanish flu spread through military camps in Europe and the United States and became a global pandemic. She was a baby then, completely unaware, but her uncle contracted the flu while serving in World War I, and her father got it so badly he actually had to take time away from the family farm. Fortunately, neither of them passed away, and she's, her mother always, reminds her of all of that, even though she was a baby at the time. But when she was a teenager, she also went through the Great Depression. She was a school teacher and a young wife during World War II, and she's just really kind of reflected on, everything that the country's facing with the pandemic. So she says that she's been going through the letters, newspaper clippings, and other stuff, and she calls it mumbo jumbo. She's kept over a century. So it all reminds her of, kind of everything that happened in the past, the feeling of being stuck inside, a bit scared, not knowing what the future holds. So she says, I know a lot of people are in a panic about their weddings because they have to cancel them or postpone them. Well, let me tell you about my wedding. This is what she says. So there are some kind of faded spots between, the Spanish flu and the coronavirus for her, and she's kind of trying to put all these faded lines together. But for her, it basically all starts with her delayed wedding. She was supposed to marry Floyd Elson, her husband, in July of 1942. Then December 7th, 1941, attack on Pearl Harbor. She and Floyd knew what that meant, basically, and that they had to low draft number, so their marriage would have to wait. So he was soon enlisted in the Navy. He was sent away for training. She stayed home in Iowa teaching while, all of this kind of happened, all this craziness happened. Plumbers were out of work. She remembered that she says, because all metal was directed to the war effort. So a few local heating businesses closed for the same reason. People left her tiny town and rushed west, hoping for jobs, building ships in California or Washington State. There was a shortage of teachers, and the school system, begged her brother, who actually had fallen sick and was discharged from the Army, to come use his college degree in their classrooms. Like, they were desperate for teachers and all these, people. She says, I spent so much time reading the ration book. The grocery store shelves were empty. It wasn't quite like now because you were allowed outside, but there was the same fear, that we didn't know what was going to happen tomorrow. So when she and Floyd did have their wedding, it was about a year later than they originally expected. They weren't gifted any metal dishware or tablecloths. Those materials were still needed in large bulk by the U.S. military. So these are her comforting words. She says, I've been through so many things. To cope with the virus and all that's going on, I would tell people not to get stressed out about planning far ahead. You can't do it. A long time ago, I started making a list every morning of what I had to do. It was the only thing I could control, and I stuck to it. You hear me? Pretty cool. So, now today these lists include checking in on your family, doing like video calls with, family members, friends, making meals, baking desserts. She said that she cooked for 25 people, just a little something, stuff like that. And to sum everything up that she has to say, she said, if I can preach for a minute, is that this, like everything else, will pass. I learned that from living, I guess. You see a lot when you get to 102. I really like those words, waking up and just focusing on what you can control, what you can do that day, and then just taking it day by day. There you have it. Wise words from a 102-year-old who's definitely been through a lot. All right, well, that is all that I have to share with you today. Thank you so much for listening to GSMC, America's Still Beautiful podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Joe. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, to like and follow us on social media, and leave a 5-star review. It's greatly appreciated, and I look forward to next time. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from social media news to marketing news, and even weird news, the GSMC Podcast Network has you covered. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts, America's Still Beautiful podcast.